All right, so if you don't already have your blocks, have your mat all set up, I also recommend using a strap if you're gonna need that for tight hamstrings, tight outer hips, shorter arms like moi. Hey, you're gonna need those just in case for the very end. Yay. All right, you guys. So let me just share with you. I am so happy that you guys are here. I know we're starting a little late, but that's because we were having some sound difficulties and wanted to make sure that those were all good to go. I'm looking at 2 screens, so that's fun. If you're new to the page, welcome. My name's Brittney. This is Robin.
Hi.
Yeah, so we're just going to teach you guys some yoga. I have a little flow in mind. And I'll try to usually I don't try to break away from the flow and teaching to come up to the phone to see what's going on over here, but I might try that tonight just to get some interaction and see how you're doing. It's a little different than like a fitness class, right? So I definitely want you to stay in the zone and present as much as possible. I think that's my biggest takeaway for any kind of yoga class is that it's all about presence and it's about how you show up to this space. And truly, I'm learning what it means to show up. And no matter what happened before this day, before the quarantine, whatever happens after the quarantine, it's not about that. What matters is how you show up like right now. And how you do things on your mat is how you probably do things off your mat. So while you move, while you flow, while you breathe, really look at that and see what comes up for you. Okay. So we're going to meet over on the mat in a child's pose. Your big toes will come together. Your knees will spread out wide. And yeah, so you can use like a little resistance band if that's more accessible. You have those instead of a strap. I honestly don't even own a strap. So that's one thing on my wish list for my birthday, I guess. Hint, hint. Hint, hint. Just kidding. All right. So you can let your chest sink in between your thighs. Stretch your arms out long. I want to do just a quick shout out to my friend Yvonne who created this playlist. I hope I put it together okay. I think I put them in order. So I hope you enjoy. All right, take some deep breaths here. Exhale tension, exhale any stress out of your mouth. Take a breath in, fill up your ribs, front to back, left to right. Exhale out of your mouth. Take one more here, close your eyes if you haven't yet already. Exhale and relax your jaw. Let your face just soften. Rock your forehead left to right if you need to massage away any aggravating thoughts. Let them go. Feel into your fingertips. As if you have a magnetism between your hands all the way to the floor. Stretch out your fingers. Take a breath in. Just lift your head a bit. Exhale and move your spine left to right. Breathing in, breathing out, rounding into your back a little bit. You can let your head dangle. Breathe. Use your next inhale, coming to the center, lift yourself up into a tabletop shape. Bring your shoulders over your wrists and tuck your toes under while you bring your knees underneath your hips. And they should be about hip-width distance apart. Fan out your fingers again. Feel for that magnetism into the earth. Take a breath in and lift your tailbone. Slide your heart forward. Notice if your shoulder heads are coming forward, can you pull them back? Lift up your chin. Close your eyes. Jut your jaw forward to really stretch out your throat. Good, breathe out and round into your spine. Chin in towards your chest, tailbone down. Inhale, lift up your tail, lift up your head, pull your heart through like your hands want to touch your knees. Exhale, round out one more time. And Breathe into a neutral spine. Walk your hands forward, a palm print. When you exhale, gather up your low belly and just lift up your knees about an inch. Try shifting your weight forward and back a little bit over your wrists, feeling into your palms. Try strengthening up through your triceps. Let your elbows straighten all the way. Keep your belly hugged up and strong. Inhale. Exhale, lift up your hips. Downward facing dog. You can walk it out a bit. Bend into one knee at a time. Push into your hands again, the same way you did before. Squeeze your triceps. Keep rolling your shoulder heads down your back. And let your head relax. Shake it out, yes. And shake it out, no. Find some stillness. Add a softness to your knees and keep your heels working their way towards the floor. Notice if you pick your tailbone up just a little bit higher, you can pull in your low ribs. So your belly is actually still active here in your downward facing dog. You take a breath in, lift your heels all the way, keep your legs straight. Exhale, lower them over to the right side. So your feet are almost coming on this tandem stance. Bend into your knees, stretch into your waistline, underneath your shoulder on the left side. Keep picking your tailbone up high. Good, inhale, lift your heels back in towards the center. Exhale, lower your heels towards the left. Keep pushing your chest back towards your thighs. Stretch out underneath your right shoulder. Notice if you're collapsing into your left side. Then take a breath in, push into the ground, lift up your heels. Exhale, lower the heels. Walk your feet out wide, about mat width wide. Okay, and instead of coming up feet to hands, you're going to walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend into your knees if the ground feels really far away. Inhale, take a little halfway lift as you roll your spine up. Take your hands to your thighs, crown twist forward. And exhale, fold your spine down. You take a breath in, halfway lift again. Exhale, fold it forward. Notice if your knees are locking out, you're pushing your hips back. Put a little more weight into your toes. Add a little juiciness to your knees. Catch your elbows, do a little sway, left to right. Let your belly relax, and again, let your head relax down. If you need to take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, you totally can. Let's relax your hands down to the floor. Bend into your knees and just heel toe your feet in so that they're about hip width distance apart. Inhale, find a halfway lift, long spine, tail out. Exhale to fold. Now push through your feet. Inhale, rise it up. You can go one vertebrae at a time or unhinge from your hips. Take that big reach all the way up overhead. When you breathe out, pull your elbows out wide. Lift up your heart. Notice if your tailbone starts to stick out behind you, can you keep your tailbone down? Lift up more through your low ribs and keep your arms out of your peripheral vision. That's how wide your stretch is. Magnetize your hands in towards the energy around you. Squeeze your quads. And take a breath in, reach all the way up. Exhale, sit back into a chair pose. Okay, so your heels have most of the weight. Your glutes are carrying you. You feel a little bit of sensation in your quads. We're not starting to heat up quite yet, but let's try taking your feet in to touch. Toes together, knees together. Your arms still magnetized towards each other, but behind you. Take a breath in, lift up your right heel, and then your left heel. Doesn't really matter which side goes first, but try to switch in between the two. Just feeling into the soles of your feet, noticing what sensation you have in your knees and in your quads, and then check in with your core. Breath with the low belly really strong as you breathe out. Good, let both feet land, bend into both knees. Inhale, take a big overhead reach. Good, exhale, hinge from your hips, fold it all the way down into a fold. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Good, exhale, bring your hands down, find your blocks. Arms are behind us. Let's walk them forward as you step your right foot forward. Okay, so you can scoot your left toes further back behind you. Keep your knee lifted, or you can ground it down if you need more support. Start to get a little lighter on your hands. Push down into your right heel. Inhale and reach all the way up towards the sky. So you're coming into this low lunge, or you can lift your back knee for a high lunge. We will meet in the high lunge, so maybe you start now, activating through your back leg. Sink into your right heel. If your tension is carried in your low back, bend your back knee some, tilt your tailbone down just like you did in your standing back bend. Stay for a breath in. If your back knee's still lowered, lift it up. Exhale, pivot your back heel down, open up wide for a warrior two. Okay, so getting into the inner thighs today a little bit. Sink down into your pelvis. When you look down at your front knee, can you see your big toe on the inside? You want to get that external rotation so that you can energize your glutes. Feel the inner thigh opening. Got that one? Okay, notice if you're reaching too far forward or you're too far behind you. Take a breath in. Circle out your wrists. When you breathe out, reach your torso forward. Lower your forearm down to your thigh and stay really light, as if you could just like float. And then take your left arm all the way up to the sky, or you can go on a full diagonal for this extended side angle. When you dive in and look down, keep your knee right over your ankle. You want to feel your tailbone reaching for your back heel. You get this stretch all the way through your left side. Maybe you're feeling a little heat coming into your right leg, and that's totally okay. Stay with it. Find your breath. Smooth inhales matched by smooth exhales. Use your breath in. Push into your heel. Lift your core. Reach all the way up through your left hand. Reverse your triangle. So now you have straight legs. Notice if you're dumping into your left side. Can you keep that space in your core? Push your hips forward. Keep reaching back. Notice if it feels better for your head to look down at your back foot or all the way up at your hand. Stay for one more breath. Good. Use your inhale. Come all the way up through the center. Reach high. Pivot your front toes in just a little bit so that you're now facing the long end of your mat. And your heels are going to come in, toes out. One more breath. Good. Exhale. Hands can come through your heart center as you bend into your knees. Take your hands onto your inner thighs. And let your chest sink forward. Do a little sway left to right into your hips. Let your tailbone guide the way. You can move your pelvis around, feeling into your inner thighs. Then take a breath in. And breathe out and let one shoulder dip down. No worries which one. Stay and enjoy the stretch. Maybe you feel into the front of your shoulder, into your spine, or still in your inner thighs. Then use your breath in, come into center. Exhale to switch sides. Notice if you're locking out into any joints. I tend to do that with my elbows. So having a soft bend where you tend to hyperextend or at least squeeze your triceps if you feel like you're getting to that end range. Cool. And take a breath in, come into the center. Pivot your toes forward as you straighten your legs. Exhale, dive it all the way down into a wide-legged forward fold. This one should feel a little different because you are wider than before. Your hands can come to blocks or to the floor. Maybe you stay right into the center. Maybe you again do a sway for your spine and for your inner thighs. Relax your crown down, it's still lifted. Try putting your weight more into your toes. Inhale, start to lift up your spine. Walk your hands over towards the top of your mat. So now you're pivoting your toes. You're keeping your feet separated. Now you're still coming into that lunge. Your right foot's still in front. Lower your back knee down if you need to. You can put your hands down onto the floor. Slide your right foot out behind you so that you're coming into a modified plank. Okay, so your knees can stay down while you set up your hands. Keep walking them out so that they're right underneath your shoulders. And again, tailbone down, belly button drawn up and in. Keep your chin off your chest as you push the ground away. Tuck your toes under. If you need to find some more heat, lift up your knees, find that full plank. Take a breath in and a big breath out. Good. Inhale here. Squeeze your legs. Exhale, lift up your hips. Find that downward facing dog. I think we're just going to skip chaturangas today because I did shoulders the other day and I just cannot manage. Shout out to Lauren from Orange Theory. All right, take a breath in. Big breath out. You walk your feet out wide so that you're back to that wide stance for your mat. Shorten up your downward dog by bringing your hands closer towards your feet. Okay, so now take your left hand. Let's reach it for your right foot or your right outer calf and ankle. Pull yourself in. We are working the shoulders here, believe it or not, in this nice flexed position. Relax your head. The more you pull, the more you'll get this little twist and stretch into your shoulder. Good, let's switch it out. Let's go the other side. Right hand to the left foot. Yeah. Hi guys. Breathe. And unwind. Come back to the center. Okay, let's walk your blocks, right? Let's walk them forward. Let's do left foot in front. You can step your right foot a little bit further back if you need to, lowering your back knee down if you have to. Then get lighter on your hands, gather up your belly, lift yourself up into this high lunge. So with high lunge, your shoulders are right over your hips. Your tailbone still roots down, so you can pull your core backwards to help keep your spine neutral. You should feel a big sensation happening into your front leg, around your glute and your hamstring, your quads perhaps. Your right quad should feel like it's getting some work too. Let's not forget about the arms. Keep your hands magnetized towards each other. This time more pinkies in towards each other. Settle into your legs. If your back knee is down, go ahead and lift it. Take a breath in. Exhale, pivot your back heel down, open wide to a warrior two. So if we're gonna start from the ground up, which we always should, your feet are your foundation. Your front heel should bisect your back arch or your back heel. So if you have tighter hips, I would go heel to heel. And you wanna push through the outer edge of your back foot while diving down deep into your front thigh with your knee right over your ankle. Let's look for your big toe on the inside of your knee. You'll feel that little spiraling out of your knee towards your pinky side. Relax your shoulders. Maybe you try this move. Okay, plug your elbows in towards your side as if you're trying to get your elbows to touch together. You're pinching your back. Keep that same energy in your shoulders and then just stretch your arms back out with your palms down. You feel a difference there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Stay for the heat in the thigh. Take a breath in. Exhale, reach yourself forward. Lower your forearm down lightly to your thigh. Take your right arm all the way up overhead or in full extended side angle. So now your palm will go face down. And you'll still get this stretch in your underarm and into your obliques in between every little rib. If you notice that your left hip is sticking out from underneath you, try to guide it under. Stacking your top hip over your bottom. Stay for one more breath. Then push into your leg. You get some rest. Straighten it all the way out. Lift your left arm up towards the sky as if you were going to serve a volleyball. Your backhand can stay light on your back thigh, or it can come to your hip if you need more support. But if you notice you jut into this back hip, guide it down and underneath you, push your hips forward, lift and lengthen out of your left side. One more breath. Then use your core. Inhale, come all the way up through the center. Both arms reach for the sky as you pivot your toes to face the other long side of your mat. When you breathe out, bend into both knees. Let's take your hands to your thighs. And then this time, instead of coming forward with your butt behind you and your chest forward, we're going to go shoulders on top of hips. Sink down into your legs. If you need the support or just the tactile cue, hands come to your hips. Otherwise, hands can come to heart center if you like. Settle down so deep that you start to feel your inner thighs quiver, and then work your glutes by pulling your knees apart and away from each other. Try lifting up your left heel. Hold it, feel the calf start to burn. Maybe you pulse your pelvis in or up and down a little bit. Nice, then we'll switch it out. Right heel lifts. Stay deep with your breath. Maybe you start to feel the calf on this side or something a little different, more into your hips. Stay with that sensation, follow it. Don't give up on it. Just feel. Nice, then land that heel down. Take a big breath in as you reach all the way up towards the sky. Pivot your toes so that they face in. Heels go out like a big star. You're stretching. Keep your tailbone down. Big breath. Exhale, dive yourself forward. As your crown reaches for the floor, keep lifting up your tailbone. Enjoy this stretch, this rest for your quads. And you can play with this one a little bit too. If you like going into more of a skandasana variation, you can bend one knee, straighten out the other, and then straighten the other side. So it almost looks like you're Spider-Man or Karate Kid, whichever generation you're from. Okay. If that's not in your practice, you're totally fine just staying here, bending into one knee at a time, having both hands on the floor. All right, let's grab at least one of your blocks. I like having a big stack underneath me, so I just put them both together on that medium height. Okay, as you push into your spine, let's keep your right hand down, left hand to your low back. Take a breath in as you lengthen out your spine. Tilt your tailbone out just a little bit. Breathe out, take a twist. So opening up towards us, towards the top part of your mat. You can reach your arm up towards the sky if you like that big stretch. But remember that magnetism in your hands, that energy that you can actually feel on your palms. Tune into that. One more breath. Good, exhale, let's try to switch it out. Okay, left hand comes to your block, right hand to your low back to start. This is just to tell you whether or not your hips move with you and do this little sway. We want to try to keep it neutral. Squeeze your quads. Inhale, heart up. Exhale, take that twist towards the back of your mat. Notice if your hips went with you. Try to keep your tailbone go in the opposite direction of your spine. One more breath. And breathe out, let your hands come down. Bring your blocks with you as you travel up towards the top. So your left foot's still in front, your right foot's behind you. You can let your blocks go off. Reach down for the floor. You can lower your back knee down if you need to step it back into your modified plank. Or maybe you try staying on high plank. We're actually going to come down to your elbows. So forearms are parallel to each other. This is like the most shoulder I'll do today. Okay, so you can bring the hands together, but if you want more outer shoulder work, let your forearms go parallel to each other. Plug them down your back. Yes, push the ground away, chin off your chest. Knees can stay down or they can come up. Try out all the variations and see what really works for you with your breath. Hopefully. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Last one. Nice, let your knees come down. Start to walk your knees in towards your elbows. I think I broke one sweat. Okay, take both blocks. We're gonna bring them about shoulder width distance apart. Pretty much the hard part's over, you guys, so stay here with us. Stay with your breath. I'm gonna come check on you in 2 seconds, but I'll load you up first. Let's come onto the elbows so that you're right in the middle of the blocks, as if you're putting down a pin into the blocks. Walk your knees backwards as if you were gonna do a puppy pose, right? Or downward facing dog, I should say. And keep lifting up your tail. Sink your heart down. You can keep your elbows bent or straighten them out all the way. Let your head come down to the floor. Or just let it dangle if that feels all right. If you have the bent elbows, try to get your thumbs to touch right in between your shoulder blades. Yay. Take some breaths as you feel this space coming into your upper back, some stretch into your underarms. Maybe you actually feel this one in your hips. Last one. And start to lift yourself up. Take your time walking your knees in so that you can come onto hands and knees. Let's shift your blocks out. Okay, let's just walk up onto the feet. Land with feet hip width to start. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Energize your upper back. Breathe out, roll your spine down. Do a little shake out if you need to. Just squeeze one leg at a time, bend one knee at a time like you're walking out your dog, but now you're walking it out in standing. And find some stillness. Bend into both of your knees, roll up through your spine one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, roll your shoulders up towards your ears. Exhale, relax them down and back. So if you have tight shoulders, you can grab onto your strap from behind. If you can actually make the bind of your hands clasped together, or even holding onto your elbows, you can try that. Okay, so once you have that bind, just feel what feels right for you tonight. Let your chin come down towards your chest. Okay, roll one ear over to the side, stretching into your neck. And let's switch sides. Chin in towards the center to rock it over. Feeling out the opposite side. Close your eyes. And check in with your feet. Chin back in towards the center. Start to roll your head back up. Release your grip. You can circle out your wrists if you need to. Come to stand with both toes together again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Sink down into your chair. So squeeze your thighs together to touch to start. Feeling your inner thighs light up to help you find this center line. That'll keep you balanced as you try to actually reach one heel up again, followed by another. Maybe do the switch. Or you can try coming up on both toes, lifting both heels. Squeeze in towards your center. Your heels don't have to touch. Notice if you start to lean back or rock too far forward. Find that center line right in between. Like you're about to launch off. You're like a bird perching on your toes. One more breath. Good. Exhale, lower your heels down. Inhale, rise all the way up to stand. Reach high. Exhale, hands in towards your heart space. Okay, we're going to try something a little different and weird. Your toes are going to point out. Your heels are still touching together. Take a breath in. Arms come forward at shoulder height. Exhale, bend into your knees. You're going to sink your hips back as if you were doing chair, but your knees are going wide. So you have this little diamond shape in between your legs. Your arms can stay reaching forward. You can take a little cactus arm. You can reach behind you again, or even find that bind one more time. Notice if that affects your low back. Keep your tail down, belly strong. Now try lifting up your heel again, one at a time. Other heel. Then maybe you fly with both. Heels up, tail back, belly strong. Your knees are working wide, so they're not collapsing in towards each other this time. You're using your outer glutes. Hey, gaze down, just off your nose. Keep your neck neutral. 3, 2, 1. Heels come down. Breathe in. Straighten out your legs. Point your heels out, toes in, so that they're parallel. Exhale to go forward, fold and dive. Inhale, halfway lift. Good. Exhale, bend into your knees. Come all the way down onto them. Swivel your way over into a seat. Bring your legs out in front of you. Give them a little shake or a pat. Maybe your toes need some love. Soles of your feet just got a good stretch. Okay, you're gonna put your hands back behind you. I'm gonna show you from the side. You notice if you're just hanging out into your back a little bit, that's okay for now while you get your ankle to cross over. Pick one side, doesn't matter. Okay, pull your toes up towards your face, and if you are sinking down into your shoulders, let's lift up your heart and try to walk yourself as close to your thigh as you can. Keep your knee, the top one, pointing away from you. You can do a little windshield wipering of that bottom leg to find a small corner into your hips that feels like the most sensation for you. Hold it. Take a breath. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Nice. Okay, keep your leg where it is, but straighten out that bottom leg. Take a breath in, sit up really tall. Good. Exhale, lean forward. Maybe grab your strap along the way. If you can't reach for your foot, you can hold on to your ankle. You can use that strap. Pull yourself in deep. Relax your head. Get a little hamstring stretch for your bottom leg. We'll come back to it. And inhale, start to rise up through your spine. Lean yourself back so your hands can land. Straighten out both legs, do a little shake, and then we'll switch. Whatever side you did before. Or didn't do. So with both legs bent, right, you're going to try to sit up really tall. The taller you make your spine, the more you try to get your tailbone out from behind you and you're off your sacrum, you'll feel more into this outer glute on the bottom. Okay, breathe in, pull your toes all the way up. When you breathe out, just do a little rock. Left and right. What do you think of the jams?
Good stuff, Yvonne.
All right, let's straighten out that bottom leg. Keep pulling your toes up towards your face. You still want to have this long spine to start. Take a breath in, reach all the way up. Good, breathe out, dive it down. And if the crossed leg starts to come up and hit you, maybe you have one arm on top of it, still guiding it down. So you get a double time stretch on this one. Notice if you're grasping and really yanking, forcing. We don't want any of that. We want kindness and compassion for the body. It's your body, it's your container for the rest of your life, so treat it nicely. Notice what you're telling yourself here. Then use your breath, start to rise all the way up. Okay. Uncross your leg. You're going to grab your strap and have it handy so that when you lie down all the way on your back, you'll have it, especially if you have short arms or tighter legs. Okay, so I'll show you from the side. You're going to use that strap. Can I borrow a strap?
Yeah, in my room. Here,
Oh, it's all good. No, I got one. It's over here. I got the room there. Okay, we're Christmas colors today. Okay, we're going to come all the way down, lower down into your spine really slowly. Heels are going to kind of come in. So let's start with the same side. Your left leg's going to stay down. Right leg will come all the way up towards your face so that you can put your foot underneath your strap. Okay, you're going to hold on to it with your opposite arm. So right leg is holding on with left hand. Keep your right hand out to the side and straighten out your left leg if that's okay. Take a breath in, feel your sacrum neutralizing into the earth. And without letting your hips lift up, pull your right leg up towards your left shoulder. Keep your ankle dorsiflexed. That means having this 90-degree angle in your ankle. You should feel big outer hip stretch. Outer leg, outer thigh. Yes. Keep aiming your hip crease down towards the bottom of your mat. Nice. And then use your core, lift your leg back up towards the center. Keep your strap open. Bend your left knee, slide it in place of your right foot, and lower your right foot down to the ground while you get this grip going with your right hand. Your Your left hand can come to your hip or out to the side. Straighten out your right leg. Take a breath in. When you breathe out, pull your foot up towards your right shoulder. Lengthen down through your waistline on the left. With your leg as straight as you can, you don't want to feel too much tension on the back of your knee. Keep pulling up your toes. Right kneecap pointing up towards the sky. And start to lift your foot all the way up. You can bend into your knees, let that strap go. Hold onto both knees in towards your chest. Let's pull your knees out wide in circles. You can go external rotation, rotating them away from each other. And then let's try the opposite, rolling them in. And then let's plug it down into a happy baby, either holding onto your shins, keep your tailbone down, or you can kick your feet up towards the sky, hold onto the outer inner edges of your feet. With them stamped up towards the sky, pull your shoulder heads down towards the earth. Keep kicking your heels away from your sits bones. You can do a rock left to right if you've got the space. Take up the room as you straighten out your legs one at a time, legging in the opposite heel. Relax your head down to the floor. Relax your grip, hug your knees all the way in. Let your feet come down right behind your sits bones. Pick up your hips, move them over to the right. And then let your knees dive over to the left. This time your right hip will come up off the floor so that you're in a twist. Let your right shoulder get expansive so that you can feel this in the top of your chest. Let your right hip pull away from your right shoulder. Your knees can stay stacked if that helps with your low back sensitivity. Then use your core. Lift your legs back up towards the center. Let's shift your hips over to the left just a little bit. Let your knees slide over. So you're taking the twist on the other side. Take some deep, deep breaths here. And then use your core, come back to the center. Give yourself one more hug, a big full squeeze. Take your chin up towards your knees. If you can kiss your knees, great. Tell your body thank you. Take one more sip of air in. Exhale, let yourself go. Set yourself up for your final resting posture, your Shavasana. That can look supportive with blocks underneath your knees or underneath your spine or your head. Try to relax that grip into your hands and into your feet. With your eyes really soft, let your breath go. It doesn't have to look a certain way. I just want you to stay watching it. Follow it with your mind's eye for 10 rounds. You can stay here and practice this mindfulness, this presence. Think about how you showed up on your mat without judgment. If you truly need the rest, then just stay. But if you're ready, take some deeper breaths. Find appreciation for those smaller, tinier moments and movements in your body. Wake yourself up through a full body stretch. Take your time bending your knees, roll over onto one side. This might be my favorite part of the practice, but it's for you to find a moment of gratitude. Just for one thing, one person, one thing that happened for you, not to you. Once you have that little sliver of gratitude, come up to a seat. Stack your spine up tall with your eyes soft. Bring your hands into your heart center, and again, just check in with that magnetism between your palms. Maybe even feel it if you take a slight separation of your hands. Take a deep breath in with us. Then an open mouth exhale. Thank you so much for playing, for moving with us, for breathing with us. It's always a pleasure. From our heart to yours. Namaste.